Aloha and welcome to Permission to Flourish, a podcast about choosing growth, joy, and purpose on your own terms. I'm your host, Jay Cornell, and I sit down with leaders, creatives, and everyday visionaries who's given themselves permission to pause, pivot, and pursue what truly matters. These conversations are real, heartfelt, and here to remind you, you don't need permission. Let's get to today's episode.
Aloha, everyone. I'd like to introduce Debbie Simmons. Debbie is a keynote speaker and author, leadership strategist, and CEO of Anchor Point, known as the Legacy Architect, who guides high capacity leaders from success into significance and lives of lasting impact. Her work is built on the architect of trust, the principle that where you place your trust determines both your success and the legacy you build. Through her proprietary framework, the Obedience Engine, Debbie equips decision making so clarity and momentum replace pressure and burnout. She is the author of The Heart of Legacy and the creator of the Vision Day Experience, a private leadership environment where leaders reset their trajectory and architect their next chapter. Debbie's message is simple. You were not designed to merely pursue success. You were created to leave a legacy worth living and leaving. With that being said, I'd like to welcome our next guest, Debbie Simmons.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for joining us today. I just have a couple of questions for you. So, the first question is, for those of you who are meeting you for the first time, how do you usually describe yourself beyond just titles and achievements?
Well, I do get a lot of titles. So I have some fun titles, like I am a wife and I'm a mother of 9 children and I'm a grandma. We call me Lolly, of 15 grandkids. And then I'm a CEO of a nonprofit. And then I'm affectionately known as a legacy architect for the coaching that I do with people. But, when people think about me, they generally go, she is very focused. She's faithful, and she's fearless. And she goes after what she wants to accomplish. And so they would say, "Hey, she's intense sometimes. I'm a lot of fun, but intense." That I'm very intentional about what I do because I want to leave a legacy, and so I know I have to live one to be able to do that. And so that's kind of who I am when you think about it, and the pressure's on. That's me.
I love that. I love that you're leaving a legacy.
Mhm.
Beautiful, big family, amazing. And I like that you're Lalia. Is that what you said? That you're
Lolly. Yeah,
Lolly. I love that.
I'm Lolly, and my husband is Pop. So you go to Lollipop's house.
I love that. I'm a yaya and my husband's just a papa.
Oh,
So good. Grandchildrens are the best.
yes, that's what I think.
Oh, amazing. And building this legacy. So when you hear the phrase or just the words permission to flourish, what does it personally mean to you at this stage of life?
When I think about like permission to flourish, what I know is that, I'm big about impact, right? And leaving legacy and stuff like that. And each of us have unique giftings and callings for impact, and we have permission to pursue those things. Sometimes we don't give ourselves permission, but you know what? They're there for us to choose to go after. And that is, kind of the person I want to be. I want to go after those things that I am uniquely here to do because I know it has impact. I know it matters for eternity. And if I don't do it, who will? Right. And so I love that, we think we have to be given permission, but the permission is already there. And for us to be the absolute best of who we are called to be. And that's what it kind of sinks in my head that way. I go, yeah, I do have permission. I do need to flourish. Let's go do this.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Was there a moment that almost stopped you from becoming who you are today? Like when you think back of everything that you've gone through?
There's actually two. Okay. And the first one was very critical very early on. And that was, I'm a girl that gets things done. And I, in my mind, had a plan that I wanted to be a young grandma and I knew I had to get married, have children, and then I could be a young grandma. And we had trouble getting pregnant, which was a real identity issue for me. And then when we did get pregnant, I got pregnant with quads. Um, and that itself was a very long, intense journey. And the boys were, the goal was to get them to 30 weeks. And at 26 weeks, I went into labor, and had to deliver the first one. And then I just held him as he passed away in my arms. And then, the doctor came back in as I got sicker and sicker and said I had to induce the other three. And they each came and they placed them in my arms. And I had to love them as they drifted into eternity. And so, as a young married person, and this was kind of my dream, my dream going up in smokes. I had hard choices to make at that point. And the kind of thought was, the number one question that we ask when we have a hard situation is we ask why? Why me? Why this? Why now? And it's a very inward question. And God really challenged me to kind of lay down that question, and be okay with not getting an answer. And the truth is, I realize now that, this side of heaven, no answer to why would ever satisfy me. So if somebody would have told me, this is the exact reason why your boys didn't get to live here and you had to go through this, I would have looked at them and said, well, why? Because that's not a good enough answer, right? And so why is just an answer that we cannot fulfill, and we have to put it down or it totally keeps us stuck. And so I was able to do that very early. And I learned to swap my question to how do I survive? And then as I got better, it was how do I thrive? And so those things have benefited me over the years tremendously, in being able to figure my way through difficult situations. And then the second one happened about 5 years ago because here I am, mom of nine, CEO, started the nonprofit. I'm a high energy, intense little lady, and I shut a truck door on my leg and got tore a hole in my leg, and I couldn't get it to heal, and it got infected, and literally the wound doctor couldn't heal it. It could have just nearly killed me if I wouldn't have gotten some help that was able to get it healed. But it was 9 months to get that healed, and it's been 5 years of trying to get my body back functioning well. Okay. So here I am. I am the grandma now. I want to be with my grandkids. I get this injury. I didn't realize how much stress, high intensity, lack of nutrition stuff, eating poorly, whatever you want to call it, was really setting me up that maybe I wouldn't be here long term. Right. And I'm like, no, I want to be here. So this required me to, you never stop learning. So this was the next thing that said, hey, you got to learn to function in your body the best way possible so that you can be here for the long term and you can continue making an impact. And that was kind of a really big second wave kind of challenge as I went into my older years to have to really learn to incorporate. So I would tell all your listeners, learn from me, don't do it that way. So they can learn how to fly sooner.
You know what? Thank you so much for sharing those two, experiences that you've gone through your life because, if people don't know you, they would never have thought it because you're just such a beautiful soul and you're just radiating and you're just being powerful and pushing through everything and just really embracing the family. And I love that you turn that why into something
Yeah.
positive and God is amazing. I love that. Um, as you were going through your journey and where you are today, and what you just shared, what boundaries had to fall away for the next version of you to really emerge? Um,
What boundaries? I don't know
or
if I've ever.
even or even like habits or identities.
Sure. Okay. So I would say, so in my, I never would think of it like as boundaries, but what I do know is that whatever it's taken me to get to this level of success, to go to the next one is going to require me to change. Okay. Because what got me here won't get me there. And so I have always been a student of learning to figure out what needs to happen next. Okay. And generally, the higher I go in leadership, what I found is I have to be willing to surrender more and I have to be willing to have humility because I don't know it all and I'm going into uncharted territories. And I have to be willing, when you're the leader, you pay a price. And I have to be willing to carry that mantle to get us to that next level because I've got to bring all my staff with me or my family with me or whatever, whoever it is, to go to that next level. So a lot of times, what that might mean is in a season, I have to really limit the people in my lives, or I have to have a lot more structure so I can focus this extra energy on what I need to take it to the next level. So it could be that I need to start hanging out with different people that operate at different levels. And that means I might lose some friends, not in a bad way, but we just start living different kind of lives. And then usually for me, there's a financial sacrifice in there that comes to get to that next level. And knowing that I'm going to have to invest that early and pay a price there. And then as I go through the process of moving to that next level, generally that works out. And somehow it gets taken care of, but it won't happen without me making that investment first. And so I think those are probably the biggest things that I've had to be willing to do over and over and over again to get to where I want to go and the impact that I want to make.
That is so powerful, especially knowing that people in your lives that you're gonna have to just let go. I know that was the hardest transition for me, is really being okay with letting go of relationships that were just no longer, being a part of where I'm going. It was a sacrifice that I had to make, and it was the best choices that I made. And I know sometimes it's hard for us. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I think, just as a little side note, I think for us is, if we remember that people in our are in our lives for seasons, not necessarily for all of life. And it's okay to move to these next things, but to if you're gonna rise up, it means the atmosphere is going to get a little different and the people in it are going to be different. And we just have to be okay. I think the thing that I'm always surprised about is like when in our nonprofit we kind of expand or do something new, I have in my mind who is probably going to go with me. And I'm always surprised that it's not always those people. And other people rise up, and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize it's going to be like that. And that's okay. And sometimes for us, the hardest decisions that we have to make are not between good and bad. It's between better and best. And those are really hard. And so hang in there, be encouraged that you can find people that will walk alongside you that will pull you up to that next level. And that's what we all need.
Yes, absolutely. And if you could leave the listeners with one belief to carry forward, what would it be?
I would say that there is power in learning how to lay down the why and ask the how do I survive or how do I thrive? And that leads to your next best step. And the next best step is action, it's movement forward, and it's so powerful because then doors will open or close. And just remember, even if it's a hard day and it doesn't seem like it's kind of working, the sun comes up tomorrow. And we get to try again, and we will break through as we continue to go forward.
I love that. Yeah, I love how you said that because failures are just opportunities that we can just enhance and get better. Love that so much. Um, if you could complete this sentence, I give myself permission when I finally decided to, and if you could fill in the blank.
I give myself permission when I finally decided to be my authentic self.
Amazing. And Debbie, what is on the horizon for you in 2026? Any exciting projects that you'd like to share?
I'm always up to something. So I think one of the funnest things is I will put out another book this year, that's for sure. And then and it will be on the kind of architecture of trust because we're always trusting something. And when we go to these next levels, we got to learn to trust new things and new systems and new obedience levels. So that's going to be exciting. But I love this phase of life that I'm in where I'm getting to coach people who are successful, but they kind of have this thought rolling around in their head that I think there could be more. I don't know what it is or whatever, and I can't really name it, but I think there's more. And I love just taking time with them and helping them just process through that and then get clarity and alignment and movement out of that. And that gives us, gives me the ability to influence, but it also gives them the ability to create additional ripples and the impact of the people that's lives will be changed.
I'm so excited to see everything that you'll be doing in 2026. So, where can listeners connect with you or continue a conversation?
Sure. Well, first of all, I have a free gift for all your listeners. It is my first book, The Heart of Legacy, and they can literally go to theheartoflegacy.com and they can get the book for free. It's, my blessing to help them get to the next level. And then my social media and all that good stuff, it's all on my website, thedebbieSimmons.com. And that is where you'll find all the cool stuff about me.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Thank you so much for that amazing gift. I can't wait to read it and share
Yeah.
my insights and inspiration. So powerful. Debbie, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and just being so open with the listeners. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. And with that being said, thank you so much. Do you have any final words before we wrap up?
I would just say that, you know what? Sometimes we're facing hard things and it feels like there's fog everywhere. Okay. And what we need to understand is that the fog is often the path. And that is where we ultimately find our purpose. So lean in, keep moving forward, and the sun will come out again.
I love that. Such a beautiful ending. Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah.
Mahalo, and thank you so much for tuning into Permission to Flourish. If today's conversation spoke to you, please leave a review and share it with a friend who needs a reminder that they too are allowed to share and thrive. Visit permissiontoflourish.com if you're ready to share your own story or explore our publishing opportunities. You'll also find free resources and inspiration to help you say yes to your own flourishing journey. Until next time, keep flourishing.